Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome into Bears Now by Chat Sports. Bears head coach Ben Johnson did a little roundtable at the owners' meetings in Florida earlier this morning, and I've got my takeaways here on today's show. My name is Harrison Graham. Let's go ahead and jump on in. Obviously, he was asked about Caleb Williams and the offense as a whole as he's getting ready to get to work. Next week, players can come to the building for the first time under the new coaching staff, so they can kind of start to, at least get a little bit of install going at that point in time. Here's what Ben had to say about the Bears quarterback. He says, quote, "There are some things that we're going to encourage that he looks to do a little bit differently. He's been predominantly a shotgun quarterback for most of his high school and college career, and so he's very comfortable there. We're going to work to see the comfort level under center and how much of that applies. We had a lot of success where I was last, that going under center for the run game did translate and play action." I thought Jonathan Wood, who writes for the Bears blog, had an interesting nugget here. He said, "Interesting to mention under center and play action. Caleb was under center only 252 times last year, and only 87 of those were run plays, so right around a third of the snaps. Chicago ran play action on just 17% of dropbacks. Shout out to Shane Waldron. The third lowest rate in the NFL, while Detroit led the NFL with 37% play action rate." I think if you watch enough football without even looking at data, which obviously these teams do, it's pretty easy. Like, just watch the Lions last few years. What do a lot of their chunk plays come on? Under center play action. Now, that doesn't mean you have to run a lot of under center play action, but I do think that's an area where the Bears didn't do enough of last year. Maybe Caleb wasn't comfortable with the footwork. To Ben's point, he's been primarily a shotgun quarterback. I think that's where this spring and summer are critical, not only just learning a new offense, but just really challenging him and pushing him and coaching him to just improve on the fine details of the game, the footwork, the drops, stepping up into the pocket, just the little different intricacies of playing quarterback, especially post-snap. There's obviously a lot of raw talent for these coaches to work with there in Caleb Williams, but I don't know how much from his rookie season in terms of just the little details that he actually improved on under the old coaching staff. So I think that's going to be a point of emphasis. Johnson talked about that on CHGO with Adam Hogue as well, of just, hey, we're going to push him and try to make him uncomfortable and see how much he can do and how deep he can dig in terms of adding to his game as a quarterback while also leaning into what he does well. And I think that's what Johnson's saying there. We know he's a good shotgun quarterback. Can he also become an effective under center player, especially in the play action game? If he can, that's huge for us. If that's a work in progress, we won't lean into that as much. And I think that's what the spring and summertime are for, to try and figure out what they can and cannot do as an offense. How confident are you that Caleb takes a jump in 2025? Scale of 1 to 10. I'm pretty confident. I just think Ben's a smart coach. I think Caleb's a talented player. I think the roster is better, so I do expect a jump. So I would give this an 8 or a 9. The question is how big of a jump, right? Does he jump into that top 10, top 12 quarterback in the league range, or is he kind of middle of the pack? We'll have to wait and see, but I do expect an improved player. Okay, let's talk a little offensive line, left tackle in particular. Obviously, Braxton Jones coming off that injury, and the left tackle position, which Ryan Poles mentioned all the way back at the Combine, is one where they would like to have some competition. Johnson said the latest on Jones is that he's progressing well, the rehab's going good, but he does anticipate him to be limited to start training camp. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean 2 days on, needs an off day? Does that mean that he's not full throttle in team drills? Obviously, we're still, 4 months away from training camp, so that's going to be probably still a little up in the air as far as projecting his timeline. But the fact he's already saying he's expecting him to be limited means he's not going to be 100%, by late July, early August. He also mentioned something I feel like we've been talking about since Jones has been here, is they want him to add weight so he can anchor better as a pass protector. That's been his biggest issue since he's entered the league. He's a good athlete. He can move well. As a run blocker out in space, he's pretty good. But as an anchor, especially against bull rushes, he struggles because he doesn't have the strongest core to protect. And I have to doubt how much he's going to be able to add there because we're in year 4 and this has been an issue since the beginning. Like, again, Braxton Jones is a solid left tackle, but what is his biggest weakness? He doesn't have a great anchor. If you run into an edge rusher who's big and can bull rush, he gives Braxton Jones problems. And by the way, he's rehabbing a leg injury. How is he really going to be able to add, like good weight, right? Like, sure, he could sit on the couch and eat cheeseburgers and put on 20 pounds, but like, how is he going to be able to add 10 or 15 pounds of muscle? A, I'm sure they've been trying to do that the last few years. And B, he can't really do full throttle like core workouts. So I'm not sure what that looks like when it comes to Braxton Jones in terms of him actually being able to add viable weight for this season, but we'll see if they have a plan for that. Okay, he also had a quote on Kiran Amegadjie. He said, I liked Kiran a lot coming out last year. He was the guy we had earmarked as a potential developmental prospect, which to me should equal day 3. Bears took him in the 3rd round. He had a lot of traits to work with. We're not discouraged at all by what he put on tape. He got put into some tough situations. Yeah, I would say Braxton Jones the night before the game being ruled out and Kiran Amegadjie not practicing at all with the ones being thrown into Monday Night Football starting left tackle against Jonathan Grenard. Yeah, I'd call that a tough situation for a guy who wasn't expected to play at all as a rookie. I think that remark there is, yeah, we're keeping the door open to what Kiran can become. But I listened to him talk about Braxton. I listened to him talk about Kiran Amegadjie. I think there's things to like about both. I also think there's question marks. With Braxton, more so long-term, is he a viable long-term starter at left tackle? I think you can get by with him this year. In conclusion, I think the Bears are adding a left tackle. Now, doesn't mean they're going to draft one at 10 like Will Campbell, who, by the way, he said on CHGO when it comes to arm length. This is a good question by Adam. Again, go check out the interview. They did some good stuff there. He said, I like watching tape before knowing anything, like what the measurables are. And then if I notice something on film that would lead me to ask the question, oh, I wonder what his arm length is, then you kind of enter that discussion. So I thought that was a good answer. Like, hey, watch the tape first. That's most important. And if, certain guys are giving him trouble, oh, maybe it's to the arm length. Let's look that up. Oh, he's got shorter arms. So, if they like Campbell's tape enough, I think they would consider him at left tackle. But whether it's him or Josh Connerly or Armand Mimbu, if they think he can flip sides, or, Ariante Ursary, whoever it is, I do think at some point in the draft or, after the draft with a veteran free agent, they will add a left tackle. Don't know who it's going to be, but I do think they're going to add somebody. All right, we got some draft hats available with the draft just over 3 weeks away. Be sure to represent lots of different styles this year in terms of the different bills and fits, snapbacks, flat bill, curve bill style. You got the flag emblem on some, not on others. Chatsports.com/Bears draft hats. I think this is one of the better models they've dropped in recent years. Sometimes, I'll be honest, they kind of flop, but I think they're better this year. So if you want to get one, chatsports.com/Bears draft hats. Link will be in the comments and in the description of this video. Be sure to get yourself a draft hat today. Okay, slot wide receiver position. He talked about this both today and on CHGO yesterday, and he basically was just like, for whatever reason, the slot receiver in his offense, the ball finds him, right? Now, in Detroit, I don't think it's a coincidence. Amon-Ra St. Brown's a slot receiver. He was their best weapon, so he got the ball out. But also, he even talked about going back to Miami when he was a receivers coach. Jarvis Landry caught 100 balls 1 year, slot receiver. So I just found it interesting. I don't think it means that the Bears' best receiver has to come out of the slot, but I do think it's one of those things, especially when you think about this wide receiver room right now. Like, is Olamide Zaccheaus going to catch 100 balls? Probably not. Is Devin Duvernay going to be a primary slot receiver? Probably not. So it makes me wonder a couple things. One, are they still going to draft somebody who fits the mold of a slot receiver, or is DJ Moore and or Rome Odunze, are they going to move around, which we know they can. They can play inside and out, and is one of them going to become the primary slot? I could see DJ being that guy. I don't think he's quite the route runner of St. Brown, but he's better after the catch and gives you some of that element, which Ben Johnson talked about earlier today as well with the offense. Like, we got to find yard after the catch plays. We know DJ is one of the best in the league at finding yak. So maybe he finds himself in the slot a lot. Maybe it's just a by committee. Sometimes Rome's in the slot. Sometimes DJ, Zacchaeus. Maybe they draft somebody. So it'll certainly be interesting to see what that looks like. But he's said it 2 days in a row that the slot receiver is something that in his offenses in previous years has ended up with the football quite a bit. Who do you guys think will be the Bears' primary slot receiver? If I had to guess today who got the most snaps in the slot, I would guess DJ or Zacchaeus. But I don't think right now, if you played a game today, you would have a guy that he is going to play slot 90% of the time. I think it'll kind of be moving guys around, rotating, finding different matchups. Okay, analytics, which is something he referenced during his introductory press conference as well, and kind of talked about it again today also. He said, quote, "From our analytics team, the EPA in the passing game is really one of the most critical factors in determining wins and losses now. That's probably changed a lot in the last 5 years or so. Previously, I would have said turnovers and takeaways was number one. What I understand now is that EPA in the passing game has surpassed that. So whatever team has the higher passing game EPA at the end of the game, they generally win that game. It's over 80% of the time. It's a huge stat, and that's where we look at how we can inflate that number. And look, that's not to say that turnovers and takeaways don't matter. Obviously, they do. Like, Detroit lost that playoff game because they turned it over 5 times. They also scored 35 points, so if they only turned it over 3 times, which would still be a high number, they probably would have beaten Washington. The point is it's so refreshing to have a forward-thinking coach. Under Eberflus, he tried to win every game 20-17. Like, let's play defense, hard-nosed, 1985 Bears. Caleb, Justin, just don't turn the ball over. We can grind these wins out. And sure, certain games ask for that, but like that was his philosophy from day one. And A, it's not an exciting brand of football, and B, it's obviously not that effective of a brand of football. So it's exciting to have this young offensive mind who's a forward thinker. And, hey, let's encourage this young quarterback to be aggressive. Hey, make some mistakes. Throw some picks here and there. It's okay. If it leads to more chunk plays and more efficiency in the passing game, that's going to be a good indicator of success and give us a chance to win a lot of these games. Okay, one more, but before we get there, subscribe to the channel. Off-season coverage on a daily basis here on Bears Now by Chat Sports. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications. That way you never miss out. Okay, Eric Bieniemy. And there's been a lot of chatter here. Certainly not a controversial figure, but seems to be a guy that people have opinions for, right? Because for years and years, why can't he get a head coaching job? Then he takes the Washington OC job with mixed results. Then he ends up at UCLA. They weren't very good. So people question him as a football coach. But I think at this point right now, as this team's running backs coach, there's a lot of reason to be excited. Here's what Ben had to say. He said he's going to coach the piss out of these running backs now. I love that line. That's what he does. Everybody that texted me after we hired him, I probably had half a dozen people that have worked with him in the past, and they said, you just hired the best running backs coach in the NFL. And that's what I've kept preaching. He's not the offensive coordinator. He's not even really going to be working with Caleb Williams. So if you're concerned about him as a play caller or his influence on the quarterback, he's going to be coaching the running backs, and sure, he'll have some level of a voice, I would imagine, in run game concepts. But that's it. I think this is right place, right time for both parties. A, they need better production out of their running backs. B, they need a hard ass like this, a guy who's known to jump on players, but kind of that tough love mentality, like coach them hard in between the lines, and then afterwards pat them on the back. They need a tougher coaching. And C, when a guy like Andy Reid calls him one of the best leaders I've ever been around, that catches my attention. It's one thing when he was doing it when Bieniemy was on his staff and he was trying to vouch for him to be a head coach. He doesn't have to say that anymore. He's the Bears running backs coach. He could give kind of a non-answer, but for him to say that, I think is meaningful. So again, I just think this is the right place, right time for both the Bears and Bieniemy to get back into the NFL, rebuild his stock a little bit, and if they take a running back and have good production there, he'll probably be in the mix for OC jobs again, which would be a win-win for everybody. So I'm excited about this hire. The chatter around the league seems to approve of it. So let's face it, the running back room was just not good enough last year, and it's got to improve regardless of who's in it. All right, there you go. Ben Johnson sounding off at the owners' meetings in Florida earlier this morning. Don't forget to follow me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, at HGramNFL. That's where you can find me. We'll be back with another video later today, so don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Bear down.